You know, Ernest Hemingway's For Whom the Bell Tolls is this absolute masterpiece of war literature. But it's also got this fascinating puzzle at its core, a structural secret that seems almost impossible. I mean, think about it. How on earth do you manage to pack in the entire weight of a civil war, all the big ideas clashing, and the deep, personal scars of your characters into one single story? And that's the kicker. The entire present-day action of this huge, sprawling novel, it all happens in just 72 hours. So how did Hemingway pull it off? Well, he basically invented a kind of literary time machine.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're going to look at this crazy time crunch, then I'll show you exactly how his time machine works. After that, we'll dive into three key characters, Jordan, Pilar, and Maria, to see it in action before we wrap it all up.
So yeah, the main plot is super tight. It's this 72-hour mission to blow up a bridge. It's all tension and forward momentum. And yet, the book feels massive, like it covers decades of history. And that's the magic trick, right? Hemingway compresses the present to show us that the past is never really gone. It's right here, breathing down our necks. So what is this time machine? It's the engine that gives the novel its incredible scope. It's a device we all know, but Hemingway uses it with such skill that it feels brand new. He uses the flashback. Now, in Hemingway's hands, a flashback isn't just a simple cutaway. It's this powerful tool that lets him completely shatter the ticking clock of the main story. It's his way of showing us that to understand who someone is in the present, you absolutely have to understand their past. And that word on the screen, integral, that is the key. These flashbacks aren't just extra flavor or backstory. They are the absolute foundation of the novel's meaning. They're the why behind every single choice, every fear, every moment of bravery. If you took them out, the whole emotional and moral structure of the book would just collapse. Okay, let's put this idea to the test. Let's start with our protagonist, Robert Jordan. He's the American who's come to Spain to fight, and his mind is basically a constant battlefield of memories.
Jordan's past is pretty much defined by these three major currents. First, he thinks about his grandfather, a hero from the American Civil War, who represents this perfect, romantic idea of courage. Then, he's haunted by his own father's suicide, which he sees as the ultimate act of cowardice. And finally, he keeps flashing back to the raw idealism that brought him to Spain in the first place.
So you see, these memories aren't random at all. They are the very source of his inner conflict. Is he going to live up to his grandfather's legacy, or is he going to give in to that weakness he despised in his father? The flashbacks show us that for Jordan, this huge war is really just an intensely personal test, all fueled by the ghosts of his own past. Okay, now for something completely different. Let's look at Pilar, the powerhouse matriarch of the guerrilla group. Her memory isn't just about her. It's communal. It's a living history of her people. There's this incredible moment in the book where Pilar just stops everything cold to tell this long, detailed, and absolutely brutal story about a massacre in her hometown. It's not just a quick memory. It's a full-blown oral history, a testimony she carries with her. And her story serves such a vital purpose. It smashes any simple good guy, bad guy idea about the war. It's a collective memory, the story of her entire town. And it shows this awful, complicated truth that violence just creates more violence and that even a just cause can lead to unspeakable cruelty. And that brings us to Maria. Her flashbacks, well, they're maybe the most heartbreaking of all. They show us the silent, personal horror that war leaves behind. For her, memory is just a raw, open wound. See, for Maria, memory isn't a story she can tell. It comes in these sharp, agonizing fragments that just won't stay buried. There's the murder of her parents, which isn't a story, but just a constant, overwhelming feeling of loss. And then there's this flash of humiliation, having her head shaved by fascist soldiers. It's a memory of being stripped of her identity, an image that just appears in her mind without any warning or comfort. And then the brutal assault that came after, an act of violence so traumatic that language just breaks. These aren't stories. They're the raw data of trauma. They define her not by what she says, but by everything she can't. And what's so brilliant is the contrast with Pilar's epic tale. Maria's story is told through the empty spaces, through what she doesn't say. Hemingway shows us that the deepest traumas often rob us of the very ability to make sense of them in a story. And when you lay it all out like this, you really see Hemingway's genius. He's using three totally different kinds of memory for three different jobs. With Jordan, memory is personal, fueling his inner demons. With Pilar, it's collective, like a historical document. And with Maria, it's traumatic and fragmented, showing us the true human cost of war.
So here's the thing. These aren't just three separate character studies going on. Hemingway masterfully weaves all these different threads of memory together, and they form the very fabric of the novel's deepest meaning. That flashback technique, the time machine, it becomes the great unifier. It connects the past to what's happening right now at the bridge. It links what's going on inside one person's head to the grand sweep of history. And it shows us how big political ideas are always filtered through raw personal experience.
And this is the ultimate takeaway. For Hemingway, history isn't just something that happened a long time ago. It's alive. It lives inside each of us. The past is always present, actively shaping our fears, our loves, and our choices in every single moment. The bell tolls for what has already happened, just as much as for what's about to.
Which kind of leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? The characters in this book are completely defined by their memories, both the ones they carry alone and the ones they share. And it just makes you wonder, what memories, what histories are living inside of us, shaping who we are right now?